Hello, everybody. It is November 16th, 2025. It's Joe from the Strange Voyage Files. And I am doing an album that over the past few months I have been listening to more and more. And if you tell from my background and the title, obviously it is Black Sabbath, The Eternal Idol. Now, I have traditionally not liked this album at all. Shining I always loved. I shouldn't say always loved. And that's kind of where my journey started. Shining I liked and got to absolutely love. And over the past few months, since Record Store Day, which is like April or May or something like that, I've been listening to this album every so often. And I feel I'm at a point where I can give it an honest judgment, an honest ranking. My opinion on this album has changed for the better. I was almost going to kind of do this as a Does It Suck, and Does It Suck does not always, like if you watch the Adrenalize video, no, I don't think it sucks. I think even the Black album fell into the no, it does not suck category. But this is not a high point for Black Sabbath. This is the last album before they get kicked off of Warner Brothers Records. And this is what I've talked about in the past when I've said, I don't really like this album. A lot of people, I do remember this album. This is right when this is 87. And this is right when, isn't it 87? Right. Of course, it's just going to have 2010 on there. It's 87, 80. I believe this is 87. Where's my actual album? Yep, 1987. So this is right after I start getting into heavy metal. And I remember this album coming out and seeing this album and whatnot. And, the people who had got me into heavy metal and whatnot, don't even bother with that album. And for years, any time I talked to anyone that knew anything about this album, because again, Sabbath has fallen so under the radar at this point in time, people don't even know this album exists when you go back to the 80s and 90s. If you're not a big Sabbath fan, you don't know the Eternal Idol even exists. If you're an Ozzy 70s Sabbath fan, you probably don't even know this album was released. It did not go over well. Oh yeah, I'm watching this. My Rosemont Horizon. We saw this concert. Got tickets for the Run for Your Lives. I'm very excited about that. Anyway, sorry. But I agreed. This was never a good album to me. Now, I've said this in the past. I don't like not liking albums. Sorry, guys. Let me see something here. Is it 200? No, that's good. I don't like not liking albums from the bands that I love. I want to love all the Sabbath albums. I want to love all the Ozzy albums. I want to love all the Kiss albums and all the Iron Maiden albums and all the Dio albums and all the Aerosmith albums and all the Van Halen albums and all the Rat albums. And, I do. I think we all do. But that's not always the case. This one I felt had the best shot of growing on me. So I have been listening to it and listening to it and listening to it. And I think I'm in a spot where I can give it a fair judgment. I think I've gone as far as I can with Eternal Idol as far as how much I'm going to like or dislike it. And I think we're in a good place. And happily, it definitely falls into an album that I now enjoy. Is it going to be an album I listen to all the time? No. Is it going to be an album I listen to? Probably listen to a couple times a year. But I now enjoy listening to it. What kills it for me, and it's not anything against Tony Martin's vocals, because I love Tony Martin's vocals. I don't think the vocal mix on this album was all that great. It sounds a little bit off. Now, I do have this was it the deluxe edition? Because I do want all the deluxe expanded editions of all the Sabbath albums. I do have this one, and there is the Ray Gillen CD I have not listened to yet. I know. So I'm very curious to see how that one sounds. But I've been kind of focusing on the real album without trying to get too off the beaten path. So, like I said, I have traditionally not liked this album at all. The Shining I liked, and then really liked, and that kind of opened the door. Now, let me show you the devotion I've had for this album. So, I do have this one This is the I don't know if it's an original because I got this. Let's see, I got this on probably eBay a couple of years ago, just because I want to have all the vinyl for Sabbath. As far as the studio albums, you guys will probably know better than I do if this was this is an actual '87 release or if it's I mean, it looks pretty. Warner Brothers label and everything like that. So, I mean, it definitely could have been, a second, third, fourth pressing, whatever it may be. Then I got this, like I said, and I do want all of these. The next one I did not have to do because as far as I was concerned, I already have the vinyl. But I got the Record Store Day version. And yes, I do take the shrink wrap off. I kept the shrink wrap on this to protect it, and the shrink wrap started pushing away. So yes, I do. I put the stickers, I take off the shrink wrap and put it right on the album sleeve, and I know some people are like, are you nuts? My God. You know what? They're my albums. Here's what's going to happen with these albums. I'm going to die, and my kids are going to see how much money they can get for them. And if that sticker on that sleeve knocks the price down, oh well. That's how I want them on mine. This is that blood red one for Record Store Day this year. So, pretty cool. And then same inset of it. But I bought this. That's how devoted I was to really get into this album. This sounds great. I think that mix is a little bit better. The remaster of that is a little bit better. But still, the vocals are just a little, I don't know, tiny bit mix. He doesn't sound and again, it's not that he doesn't sound as good. His vocal mix doesn't fit as well as it does on all the other Tony Martin albums. Because I have no issue with the vocal mix on any of the other Tony Martin albums. Now, I still, there's still like, I don't think I'm ever going to like Cross Purposes. I'll keep trying, but that is an album that nothing, not even Evil Eye, is even slightly growing on me. I traditionally have not liked Born Again. I'm not going to try listening to that album again until the new remaster. Remaster, I always get those messed up, but I think it's a remix. This was a remaster. Yeah, this is the remaster. Yeah. So it's not mixed, but now Born Again is going to be a remix. And that is one of the biggest things with Born Again is the vocals. Not the vocals, the mix. So I am praying to God, because I've always said my biggest problem with Born Again isn't the songs. It sounds like a horrible demo. So I'm hoping the remix, which Tony is supposedly going over with white knit gloves, is going to change my mind, because man, do I want to love that album. But we definitely have a success here. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, this is up there with Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Volume 4, and Heaven and Hell, and no, not even close. But from where it was, because I'll be honest with you, there was a point in time where The Shining was the one good song, and the rest of them were ones. Maybe you had a couple, too. That is drastically different now. So I think this is a big win for this album for me. Maybe in 2 years, 3 years, I'll like it even more listening to it, but right now I'm happy where I am. I'm happy that I like another Sabbath album. So, all right, let's go through this. The Shining. Love it. In my mind, the masterpiece off the album, it was the single. It was the smart idea to be the single, even though Warner Brothers didn't promote this album. It's a 5. The Shining is absolutely a 5. Ancient Warrior is great. The riff, this is a classic Tony Iommi riff. And now my biggest love of this album is Tony. Tony sounds so phenomenal on this album, and his guitar work on this album is, God, I almost want to say between Mob Rules and now, this may be the best one. I mean, yes, even beating like Seventh Star, which I really like. Ancient Warrior, the riff stands out. It's a great song. It's Sabbathy. It is a 4. Really, really Really love that song. What is it? Hard Life to Live. Blind is a bad. Hard Life to Love is a 2. To me, it sounds pretty 80s. There's a couple songs in this one where it sounded like maybe the record company said, hey, try to sound a little bit more, nothing like glam rock or anything like that, but sound a little bit more rock, a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more 80s, so we can push some record sales, and that doesn't really work for Sabbath. Hard Life to Love is a 2. Glory Ride is a 3. That one reminds me of something that comes off Seventh Star. I don't know if it was a leftover or whatnot, but it has a very, very Seventh Star feeling for me. Good song. I like it. And definitely would fit very well in Seventh Star. Born to Lose is a 2. Again, this is another one of those 80s sounding. It's a great rockin' song. I probably would not skip over it at any time, but, it's okay. It's a 2. Born to Lose is a 2. Nightmare, really, really, really good song. It's a 4. Again, the riff on this song, it's dark, it's brooding. Tony Iommi sounds great on this song. Call Back to the Old Sabbath, absolutely love it. Nightmare is a 4. Scarlet, what is this thing? Scarlet Pimpernel reminded me of Fluff. It's a little instrumental, but I like it and I love Fluff. It's a 3. It's for what it is, an acoustic instrumental. It's a 3. Love it. Love it to death. Lost Forever. Lost Forever is fast song. It's a 4. And the solo, Tony Iommi's solo on this song is great. Solid 4. Really, really great song. Fast rocker. Absolutely love it. And then the title track, Eternal Idol, is a 4. I almost gave it a 5, but I don't think it's a perfect song. I do think The Shining is a perfect song, but Eternal Idol is awesome. It's reminiscent of old Dio Sabbath. To me, that sounds like something that almost could have been on Heaven and Hell or The Mob Rules. Now, again, you got to remember, a year ago, with the exception of The Shining, I would have given all these albums 1s and 2s. Average them all up, 3.4. I round, so it's a solid 3. It was almost to the 4 mark. And I don't know if I would say that this album is a 4, but for me, being a 3, that puts it in line with some really good Sabbath albums that I enjoy. So I'm very happy with that. I'm glad that this album has grown on me. Still going to continue to listen to it. Who knows? 2-3 years, may do this again, and it's it's never going to be a 5. I mean, that's crazy. 5 is Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Paranoid, Heaven and Hell, it's never going to be a 5. May inch closer to the 4. I mean, it's only got, point to go. So it's very possible that in a couple of years it could be a 4. But it's a good solid 3. Now the 2 bonus tracks, it would have Black Moon that song is my second favorite song off Headless Cross, behind the title track. If they had Black Moon on this album and knocked one of these 2s off, this album would have gone into the 4 range. Black Moon is a 5. I love that song. Some Kind of Woman sucks. It's the other bonus track. It's a 2. To me, it sounds like something that you'd hear on Motley Crue, Theater of Pain. And I definitely see why they left this off. Again, this goes with those other songs that are 80s-ish to me. I have a feeling that Warner Brothers said, because remember, Warner Brothers said, write some mainstream rock songs. And they put money into this album. They were in Montserrat, in Paradise doing this album. So Warner Brothers did throw some money at this album. This wasn't like, fine, throw another Sabbath album out. Let's see what blood we can get from the stone. But they didn't promote it, which made no sense. Excuse me. So Warner Brothers had some belief in this album. And Some Kind of Woman, again, makes sense. That it's an 80s straight rock song. Sounds like something that would be on Motley Crue, Theater of Pain to me. Maybe nobody else on the planet, but to me it does. But it sucks. It's a 2. But again, this is a solid 3. High 3, too. Almost a 4. So that means, I'm telling you guys, a year ago, this probably would end up being a 1 or a 2. probably a 1 because I remember listening to these songs and just going, oh, oh, oh. And there are albums I'm not going to give up on. I just did the Does It Suck for Angry Machines. I don't think that one's ever gonna. I just don't. Don't think it's ever gonna grow on me. I'm still gonna try Strange Highways. I'm still gonna try Magica. You know, I've been listening to Black Rain here and there because it's pretty much the same lineup with the exception Zach is on Black Rain. He's not on Scream. But the writing staff, if you will, is the same on Scream and Black Rain, but again with Zach writing on Black Rain. So hoping to maybe like Black Rain a little bit more because it's so connected to Scream. And there are songs on Black Rain I really like. So Iron Maiden, the X Factor, gonna keep trying. Don't like it. Don't like Virtual 11. But I'm gonna keep trying. I don't want to not like these albums. There are albums I'm never gonna like. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm never gonna like Carnival of Souls from Kiss. I don't think I'm ever gonna like Cross Purposes. Just never gonna happen. I don't know how much I'm ever really gonna like the Blaze albums with Maiden. I'm gonna keep trying, but I don't know. But I'm not gonna give up, man. I mean, especially as we're losing people, I want to try to like as much of their catalog as possible. So, all right, I feel this is a big win. I feel that I'm glad I gave this album time and devotion. Again, I still kind of feel it's rose-colored glasses because there's a lot of people. And again, I don't know. There are people that very well may have loved this album from the time it was released. But I do feel a lot of people are like, oh, no, I always liked it. I always liked it. There's no way you always liked it. There's no way that many people who are saying they've always loved this album because it would have gone a lot further than it did. Sabbath wouldn't have been in the pit that it was if that many people who claim to have loved this album in 87 actually loved this album in 87. But I'm glad that it had grown on me. So, all right, that is my review of Black Sabbath, The Eternal Idol. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And see ya.